אני מתכבד להזמין כעת את נשיא הרפובליקה של פרגוואי, מר סנטיאגו פניה פלסיוס, לשאת דברים. בבקשה, אדוני הנשיא.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker of the Knesset, Amir Ohana, esteemed Prime Minister of the State of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, respected leader of the opposition, Yair Lapid, distinguished member of the Knesset, ladies and gentlemen, this is no ordinary occasion to me. Quite the contrary. This is a day that is filled with profound political, emotional, and spiritual meaning, as I stand before you as the first Paraguayan president to address this great assembly. I'm deeply honored and humbled by this most unique privilege that you have so generously bestowed upon me. Today, I'm speaking before the representative of our most extraordinary people. No nation, no culture, no religious heritage has shaped and influenced Western civilization as profoundly as the Jewish people. For more than 4,000 years, this nation has built, generation after generation, the most enduring and meaningful ideas of our civilization. These contributions have helped preserve humanity, particularly through the profound moral and philosophical principles that continue to guide us. So let me begin by saying the simplest, yet at the same time most powerful words that any human being can say. Thank you. Thank you, dear member of the Knesset, for this mark of distinction. Thank you to the State of Israel for your friendship with Paraguay. And above all, thank you to the great Israeli people for receiving us, your Paraguayan brothers, with so much warmth and hospitality. But this occasion is not only deeply significant for me personally, it is also powerful, symbolic of the enduring and historic friendship between the people of the great nations of Paraguay and Israel. As such, today is a day that crystallizes the indestructible bond that unites Paraguay and Israel, a bond that is built not upon mere political convenience or expediency, but upon our shared commitment to principles that transcend space and time, principles like peace, justice, and the sovereignty of nations. But above all, the principles of solidarity and true brotherhood. Indeed, Paraguay has been one of the countries that has most vigorously stood beside Israel after the criminal, wicked, and coward attacks of October 7. This atrocious act that claimed the life of over 1,400 innocent people, including individuals from more than 20 countries, was not only an assault on Israel, but on humanity itself. In the name of David Schwartzman, an Israeli Paraguayan who was killed that day, I extend my deepest condolence to all of the families of the victims. Our hearts and prayers are with you. Today, I also remember the innocent men, women, and children who remain in captivity, held criminally hostage by Hamas. Their suffering is a lacerating wound for the whole world. I call for the immediate release and reaffirm Paraguay's unwavering support for Israel in these dark hours. Dear friends, I stand before you today to say to this victim that we don't forget them, that we come to honor those who were taken from us by the miserable hands full of hatred and violence. To these criminals, we come here to say, you have not won. No, hate is not stronger than love. Violence is not stronger than peace. Barbarism is no stronger than humanity. Cowards, know that you will be defeated. Paraguay is also firmly against the absurd intention to equate the responsibility of the leaders of the terrorist group Hamas with that of the democratically elected government of the State of Israel, and also condemn any action that seeks to deny the legitimate right of Israel to defend itself and repel its aggressors. Legitimate self-defense is no criminal action, as the enemies of the truth assert. Legitimate self-defense is a justified ground for action according to the most basic principle of international law. It is in the most difficult and trying times that we come to know the true value of our friends, of our real brothers and sisters. Everyone is a friend when things go smoothly, when the weather is fair, but we are living truly decisive days. These are not times for the timid. These are not time for the lukewarm. We have to take positions. We have to take a stance. This is the reason why tomorrow we will officially move the Paraguayan embassy in Israel to the eternal capital of Jerusalem. The decision to open our embassy in this great city is not merely the fulfillment of an electoral campaign promise, but a reflection of the deepest values of solidarity and true brotherhood. Precisely when the world seems to once again abandon Israel, forget the Jewish brethren, when everyone seems to be turning their back on this country, Paraguay is here to say, we are with you, our friends. We will not abandon Israel. There is so much true in Elhanan Levinsky's word. Without Jerusalem, the land of Israel is a body without a soul. So I say here today that without an embassy in Jerusalem, diplomatic relations with Israel do not have a real heart, do not have a real soul. With this move, our historic friendship will once again have the palpitating heart. It is also a decision that I sincerely hope will inspire other nations to do the same. Moreover, Paraguay is a profoundly religious and spiritual country, which has always looked to Israel as a brother nation. The faith practiced by Paraguayans derives from that of our older brothers, as the great Pope John Paul II called the Jewish people. Furthermore, the infinite spiritual strength that emanates from this capital has always inspired ordinary Paraguayans. Whether in rural communities or in our bustling cities, in conversation with my fellow countrymen, I have always seen the genuine admiration and solidarity they feel toward Israel. Jerusalem, my friend, is a second capital to most Paraguayans. Let then the whole world know today, loud and clear, that Paraguay is moving its embassy to Jerusalem. This is, for us, the true value of solidarity, to be with your brothers in the most difficult times. However significant, the decision to move the embassy to Jerusalem is only one more link in the rich and profound history of friendship between Israel and Paraguay. This long relationship goes back to at least 1947. In that year, Paraguay was proud to cast one of the decisive votes in favor of the United Nations Resolution 181, which established the modern state of Israel, a land of milk and honey, as Exodus prophesied. From this moment on, our two nations have been united in a true spirit of friendship and brotherhood. which has stood the test of time and ever-changing political, diplomatic, and cultural movement. But you may legitimately ask, why are two countries geographically so far away from each other, that on the surface are so different, that have so diverse history, why they have such a strong and unique bond? And this is, of course, a very legitimate question. However, despite these superficial differences, I'm convinced that there are a few countries that can understand Israel better than Paraguay. In fact, I believe that there are at least three core values that are shared by both countries, and that they help explain the spontaneous feeling of goodwill that Paraguayans have toward the Jewish people. These three guiding ideas are, number one, a profound and deeply rooted religious consciousness that acknowledges the divine will as a guiding force in the destiny of our nations and emphasizes the sacredness of human life. Number two, the understanding that adversity and sacrifice are intrinsic elements in the history of a nation. And three, a strong leadership and courage, despite being in a tough neighborhood, coupled with a relentless pursuit of a brighter future. But let me dwell a little bit in these ideas. First, we share with you the profound religious root that so deeply marked the Jewish nation. Paraguay, from its very beginning, has been characterized by a deep sense of spirituality. The Guarani people, native to our land, possess a remarkable religious openness that resonates deeply with the concept of monotheism in the Jewish faith. This, in turn, paved the way for the integration of the Judeo-Christian worldview once the Spaniard conquest began. This openness, in fact, laid the foundation for one of the earliest social experiments of productive cooperation led by the Jesuit missionaries in the 17th centuries. Known as the Jesuit missions or misiones jesuíticas, these efforts combine religious and cultural training to foster community and shared purpose. The misiones were firmly based on the idea of a common life. Of course, this notion has a remarkable similarity to the concept of the kibbutz, and it has a profound influence that developed of rural life in Paraguay. This spirit of faith and cooperation is ingrained in the Paraguayan soul, as in our Israeli brothers. The idea that human life is sacred is also a great legacy of the Jewish people. Every single human being is valuable, and no person can be used as a means to an end. People are an end themselves. There can be no more despicable act in this tradition than taking an innocent human life. This is even more the case when killing is done in the name of that most abhorrent ideology, terrorism. This is why Paraguay has been one of the first countries in the world to designate both Hezbollah and Hamas as international terrorist organizations, and has always deeply censored their wicked actions. I decisively condemn this criminal organization once again today before you all. My country will continue to stand against organizations that deny the value of human life, as this is an integral part of the Paraguayan view of life, which owes so much to the spiritual wealth of the Jewish heritage. Secondly, we also share the great tradition of the Jewish people of understanding the ideals of adversity and sacrifice. Of course, no people on the face of this earth has endured so much persecution, so much violence, so much injustice as the Jewish people. No word, no historical chronicle can fully describe the trials and tribulations that you have suffered. Yet, at the same time, this fight against adversity and the concept of sacrifice embodies so much of the greatness of this nation and of many of its gifts to humanity. Paraguay's path has also seen its shares of hardship, suffering, and resilience. Just as the children of Israel were guided by Moses in the search of the promised land, Paraguay too has faced its own particular kind of exodus, of wandering, difficulty, and struggle to survive. Many of you here may not know this, but Paraguay was the most prosperous and developed country in South America in the 19th century, as well as a zealous defender of its independence. This created an homogeneous population with strong social ties and a very unique sense of identity. However, Paraguay, like Israel is today, lives in a very rough and complicated vicinity.